I've always believed there's an explanation for everything. Every noise in the dark has a source, every shadow a cause. That's what I told myself for years, until the night I realized that not everything that moves in this world belongs to it. I never set out to chase monsters. I never wanted to be the person who sees things others don't. But over the years, in different places and moments, I've encountered things that defy reason. Creatures that shouldn't exist. Things that seem to emerge from the corners of our reality just to remind us how fragile it is. These aren't stories I enjoy telling. They've left marks, not just on my body but on my mind. But I feel I owe it to myself to finally speak about them. Maybe someone out there has seen what I've seen. Maybe someone else knows I'm not crazy. These are the 5 times unexplained creatures attacked me. And I swear every word you're about to hear is true. Story 1. The Thing by the River. I was 19 the first time it happened. It was during one of those restless summer nights when the air feels too thick to breathe, and sleep just won't come. I lived then in a small, quiet town bordered by woods and a slow, winding river that cut through the valley like a black vein. That night I couldn't stay inside. Something about the heat made me feel trapped, so I decided to take a walk, just to clear my head. The moon was full, pale, and swollen, throwing a dull light across the road as I made my way down the familiar path toward the riverbank. It wasn't far, maybe a 15-minute walk, but once I reached it, everything felt off. The air was colder by the water, unnaturally cold and still. No insects, no frogs, nothing. Just silence so thick I could hear my own heartbeat. I sat on a rock near the edge and watched the moon's reflection ripple on the surface. For a while it was peaceful. Then I noticed something. A few meters downstream, the reflection of the moon was bending, warping, as if something large was moving just beneath the surface. At first I thought it was a fish, maybe a catfish or something. But then the movement grew wider, longer. It wasn't swimming across the water. It was rising out of it. The first thing I saw was a hand. Too long. The fingers broke the surface silently, dripping in slow motion like time had slowed around them. Then a second hand. And then a head. It wasn't human. The eyes were the first giveaway. Wide, black, glistening like the surface of the river itself. The skin looked wet but stretched tight, and its mouth hung open in a silent gasp. Froze. It didn't seem to notice me at first. It crawled out halfway, dragging itself onto the rocks with slow, jerky movements. The body was long, too long for anything human, with a ribcage that seemed to twist unnaturally as it moved. Then it stopped. Its head tilted sharply, almost mechanically, and those black eyes locked onto mine. Something primal inside me screamed to run, but I couldn't move. It made a sound, low, breathy, almost like a whisper bubbling through water. I couldn't make out words, but it sounded like it was trying to speak. Then it moved. Lunge fast. The water exploded as it surged toward me. I stumbled backward, nearly falling into the river, my hands scraping against stone. I don't know how, but I ran. I ran harder than I ever had before. I didn't look back. Not once. I reached home drenched in sweat, locked every door, and sat in the corner till sunrise. When I finally dared to go back the next day, to prove to myself that it was just a dream, I found something. The same rock where I'd been sitting had deep gouges in it. 5 perfect marks like fingers digging into stone. No one believed me, of course. They said maybe it was a prank, or maybe I'd seen an animal. But animals don't leave claw marks in stone. And they don't whisper your name as they crawl out of rivers. To this day, I can still hear that sound in my head when I'm near water. And sometimes, if I stay long enough by a riverbank, I swear I can see a ripple moving against the current, as if something beneath is waiting, watching. I didn't talk about what happened by the river for years. I told myself it was just my mind playing tricks. Exhaustion, maybe even a dream. But deep down I knew what I saw. And the strangest part, after that night, it was as if I'd drawn something to me. I started noticing things. Fleeting shapes at the edge of my vision, shadows where they shouldn't be, movements that stopped the moment I looked directly at them. Still I tried to ignore it. I went on with my life, convincing myself that whatever I saw that night was a one-time event. But I was wrong, because years later, on a lonely stretch of road, I learned that whatever these creatures are, they find you again. Story 2. The Thing on the Road. It was around 11:30 p.m. on a cold, windless night. I was driving home from a late shift, one of those routes where there's nothing but trees and asphalt for miles. No streetlights, no houses, no phone signal. Just the hum of the engine and the sound of my own breathing. The road ahead was empty, a long silver ribbon under the headlights. I was half asleep at the wheel when I saw something lying across the road up ahead. First, I thought it was a deer. It wasn't unusual. Animals got hit out there all the time. But as I slowed down, the shape became clearer and my stomach dropped. It wasn't a deer. It was a person. A pale, thin figure sprawled across the middle of the road, motionless. I slammed the brakes, the car skidding slightly as it came to a stop. My first thought was to help. Maybe it was someone who'd been hit by another car. I grabbed my phone, but of course there was no signal. So I stepped out. The night was too quiet. The kind of silence that presses against your ears. I left the headlights on and approached slowly. "Hey, are you okay?" called out. No answer. As I got closer, I noticed something strange about the body. The arms were too long, stretching farther than they should. And the head, it wasn't facing the right way. It was twisted completely around, chin against the road, as if it had turned itself to look at me. Then it moved. Didn't get up. It unfolded. Its joints cracked and popped as it lifted itself in a slow, jerking motion. The neck rotated further, impossibly far, until the face was staring straight at me. Upside down, eyes wide and glassy. Froze. My body refused to respond. The thing began to crawl toward me. Its limbs bent wrong, elbows and knees flexing the opposite direction. Each movement made a soft scraping sound on the asphalt. I stumbled backward, heart slamming in my chest, and ran to the car. But as I reached for the door, I realized the headlights were flickering, dimming, as if something was draining the power. The creature was on its feet now, standing unnaturally tall, its head still upside down. And then it smiled. I don't know how to describe that smile. It wasn't human, it stretched too wide, too far. The next moment it was gone. Just gone. No running, no fading. 1 second it was there, and the next the road was empty. I dove into the car and slammed the door. The lights came back instantly. The engine roared to life, and I drove. Faster than I ever have. A few minutes later, I looked into the rearview mirror. And that's when I saw it again. Not on the road, not in the distance, but on the back seat. It was sitting there, head tilted. That same awful grin on its upside-down face. I swerved the car so hard I nearly flipped it. The vehicle skidded sideways, tires screeching as I lost control. When it stopped, I jumped out, ready to run into the trees if I had to. But the back seat was empty. No one ever found anything when I reported it. The police thought I'd fallen asleep and imagined it. But I know what I saw. And for months after that night, every time I checked the mirror, even in daylight, I half expected to see that smile again. I never take that road anymore. I don't even drive after dark if I can help it. Because some things, they don't want to be left behind. After that night on the road, I started to notice a pattern. Every time I convinced myself it was over, that I'd finally escaped whatever was following me, something else would happen. And each time it would come a little closer. Months passed. I moved to a different town, hundreds of miles away. I told myself it was a fresh start. I'd get some rest, find peace again. I even started hiking on weekends. Long walks through the nearby forest trails. Felt like therapy. But if I've learned anything from all this, it's that some places don't just hold secrets. They call to the things that live in them. And one of those things found me again. Story 3. The Thing in the Woods. The woods were beautiful that time of year. Golden leaves carpeted the ground, and the air smelled like rain and pine. I'd been hiking the same trail every weekend for nearly a month, learning its turns, its quiet. That day, though, I decided to go farther, deeper than before. The trail narrowed, winding between tall pines that blotted out the sun. After about an hour, I realized I hadn't seen a single bird. No movement, no sound. Just that strange, heavy stillness again. The same one I'd felt by the river all those years ago. I told myself it was fine, just the forest being quiet. But when I turned back, something caught my eye. Footprints. First I thought they were mine. But they weren't. They were larger, wider, and the spacing was wrong. Whatever left them had a stride much longer than mine. And they didn't come from behind me. They appeared beside the path, cutting straight across. Curiosity got the better of me. Followed them. The prints led deeper into the trees, to a small clearing I'd never seen before. The light there was strange, dim, almost greenish, as if filtered through water. In the center of the clearing was a fallen tree. On it lay something that, for a moment, I thought was a dead animal. It wasn't. It was a carcass, but not like any I'd ever seen. The shape was vaguely human, but smaller, twisted, the bones wrong. The skin was grayish, stretched thin over sharp angles. And its eyes, they were gone. Cleanly removed. That's when I heard it. A low, rhythmic clicking sound, coming from behind me. Click, click, click. Turned slowly. About 10 meters away between the trees, something was standing. First, I thought it was a person. It was tall, maybe 7 feet, and its skin looked pale in the shadows. But as I stared, I realized it wasn't standing still. It was swaying. Its limbs moved in strange, fluid motions like they didn't have joints. And then it started to move closer. Blick, blick, blick. The sound was coming from its mouth, or what should have been its mouth, because as it came closer, I saw that its face had no features. Just smooth, stretched skin where eyes and a mouth should be. I backed up slowly, trying not to make a sound. But every step I took it matched. Blick, blick, blick. I turned and ran. Branches tore at my clothes. The forest spinning around me in flashes of green and shadow. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I had to get out. But the sound didn't fade. Followed. Closer. Louder. When I finally burst back onto the main trail, I didn't stop running until I reached my car. My hands were shaking so badly I dropped the keys twice before getting the door open. I didn't look back. That night I couldn't sleep. My mind kept replaying the way it moved. Too smooth, too wrong. And that sound, that awful clicking. A few days later, curiosity got the better of me again. I went online, searching for stories about the forest, about anything strange that might have been seen there. And I found one. Post from 1997. Someone describing a tall, faceless creature in the same woods. They called it the clicker. They said it mimics footsteps and follows hikers who stray off the trail. That if you ever hear clicking that matches your steps, you've already been seen. I deleted my search history that night. I stopped hiking completely. But sometimes late at night when my house is quiet, I swear I still hear it. Blick, blick, blick. I stopped hiking after that day in the woods. For a while, I tried to stay indoors as much as possible, pretending my life was normal again. But after years of running from these encounters, I realized something. Avoiding them didn't stop them. No matter where I went, the world seemed to twist around me, drawing me back into their reach. When I moved again, this time to a small coastal town, I told myself the ocean would help me forget. Wide open space, salty air, endless horizon. I thought, maybe if I stood by something so vast and ancient, I'd feel small enough for the darkness to lose interest in me. But I was wrong, because that's where I met the fourth one. Story 4. The Thing in the Water. I'd rented a tiny house by the coast, the kind with peeling paint, creaky floors, and windows that rattled whenever the wind came in from the sea. The nearest neighbor was half a mile away. Most nights, the only sounds were waves and wind. It was peaceful, for a while. One evening, a storm rolled in from the ocean. The kind that doesn't bring rain at first, just restless waves and that strange, charged feeling in the air. I went out to secure the small fishing boat tied near the dock behind the house. A habit, since the last storm had snapped one of the ropes. The sky was bruised purple, the wind sharp with salt. As I reached the dock, I noticed something odd. The water looked wrong. It wasn't choppy like it should have been before a storm. It was rippling in a slow, circular pattern, like something was moving just below the surface. I crouched down, shining my flashlight into the water. It was deep, dark, almost black, but I could see faint glimmers like light reflecting off scales. Then a shape passed beneath the dock. Long, smooth, almost serpentine. I leaned closer. That's when it hit the boat. Hard. The impact nearly knocked me off balance. I grabbed the rope just as the boat lurched again. This time so violently the water splashed up onto the dock. Something was underneath it. Something big. Then the sound came. A low, guttural moan that seemed to vibrate through the water itself. I backed away slowly, but before I could turn, a hand, or something like one, broke the surface. It wasn't like the hand from the river. This one was webbed, dark, slick. And it was gripping the edge of the dock, the nails long and sharp enough to dig grooves into the wood. Another hand appeared beside it, and then a face. Its eyes glowed faintly, not like lights, but like reflections that shouldn't be there. Its mouth opened, revealing rows of sharp, thin teeth. And it made that same low moan again. But this time it almost sounded like my name. I stumbled backward, flashlight shaking in my hand. The creature pulled itself up just enough for its chest to break the surface. Its skin shimmered like oil, colors shifting under the light. Then it screamed. The sound wasn't human. It was high, distorted, echoing across the waves like 100 voices all at once. The dock shuddered. The flashlight went out. Ran. I didn't stop until I was inside. Doors locked, windows latched. Even then I could still hear the sound, muffled but close. When the storm finally hit, I sat in the corner of my room, listening to the wind howl. I told myself it was over, that the sea had swallowed whatever it was. But the next morning when I went outside, I found the dock torn apart, planks scattered, nails twisted, the water thick with seaweed and debris. And on the remaining post where my boat had been tied, something was carved into the wood. 5 symbols. Deep, uneven scratches. The same 5 marks I'd seen on that rock years ago by the river. That was when I knew. They weren't separate things. They were connected. After the thing in the water, I stopped pretending these were coincidences. There was a pattern. The marks. The way each encounter felt like a continuation of the last. And the way they always came when I was alone. It wasn't just bad luck. It was something else. Something following me. I thought maybe they'd stop if I didn't leave the house anymore. If I didn't go near rivers, roads, or forests. I even covered the mirrors for a while, because sometimes I'd catch glimpses of movement that weren't mine. But eventually, they found a way in. And that's how I came face to face with the last one. Story 5. The thing in the mirror. Started small. I'd be brushing my teeth, and for a split second, I'd notice my reflection move out of sync. Just slightly. A blink too late, a twitch too slow. I told myself it was the lighting, or maybe my tired eyes playing tricks. But the more I ignored it, the worse it got. One night, I caught my reflection smiling when I wasn't. It wasn't a big grin, just a faint curve at the edge of the mouth. Subtle, but wrong. Froze. Slowly, I lifted my hand. My reflection lifted its too, but a fraction of a second late. Then, without warning, it stopped. It didn't move again, even as I lowered my hand. It just stood there, staring at me, that faint, unnatural smile still on its face. Backed away. The air felt thick, heavy, like the room itself was holding its breath. Then the light flickered, and my reflection blinked. Not the same way I did. Blinked sideways. Ran. I covered the bathroom mirror with a towel and didn't go back for the rest of the night. I told myself I'd throw it out in the morning. But at 3 a.m., I woke to a faint tapping sound. It was coming from the bathroom. I wanted to ignore it, I really did. But curiosity, or maybe fear, dragged me out of bed. The air was cold as I stepped closer to the door. The tapping stopped. I reached out, hand shaking, and slowly lifted the towel. The mirror was black, not reflective, just a void, and from inside it I could see movement. Something shifting behind the glass like smoke in water. Then a hand pressed against the other side. Long-fingered. I started to push, and the glass bent. I stumbled back as a crack split across the surface. Then another. The whole mirror trembled, and from the fractures, something began to crawl out. It wasn't me, but it was. It looked like me, same face, same eyes, but wrong. Its smile was too wide, its skin too smooth, its movements too sharp. It stepped halfway out, glass cracking beneath its feet, and whispered in my voice, "You brought them with you." I don't remember what happened next. I woke up on the floor, the mirror shattered, blood on my hands from the glass. I moved out the next day. I left everything behind, the furniture, the house, even my clothes. But wherever I go, mirrors still make me nervous. Sometimes when I pass by one, I feel like something inside it is watching, waiting. And once, just once, I thought I saw movement, the faintest shadow of a hand pressed against the glass. It's been years since the first time, since that night by the river. I've tried to live quietly, far from water, forests, and mirrors. But deep down, I know it isn't over. These things, whatever they are, don't just appear. They attach. They remember. And maybe they don't attack at random. Maybe they're drawn to fear itself. The kind that lingers, the kind that never leaves. I don't know if I'll ever understand what they are. But I've stopped trying to find answers. Because I've learned something far more terrifying than not knowing. Sometimes the truth isn't hiding from us, standing right behind us. If you've made it this far, thank you for listening. These are my stories, at least the ones I can still talk about. Maybe you've seen something you can't explain. Maybe you've heard that same whisper in the dark, or caught that same movement from the corner of your eye. If you have, you're not alone. Share your story in the comments below. And if you want to hear more true encounters like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because next time I'll be sharing something even darker. Until then, stay out of the woods, stay away from the water, and whatever you do, don't look too long into the mirror.